Late-night comedy rarely stumbles into controversy by accident. When a show like Saturday Night Live references material the public hasn't officially seen, it's rarely a joke without intention. It's a signal, a pressure test. And according to multiple commentators, that's exactly what happened when Weekend Update made a pointed reference that appeared to hint at photographs quietly circulating. Images allegedly connecting Meghan Markle to elite yacht circles associated with Prince Andrew years before her relationship with Prince Harry. The moment mattered not because of what was shown, but because of what was implied. Comedy doesn't operate in a vacuum. Writers don't reference sensitive material unless they're confident it already exists in private channels. In media culture, jokes often come last, not first. They follow whispers, internal conversations, and long-standing awareness behind closed doors. According to sources cited by commentators, the reaction behind the gates of Montecito was immediate and chaotic, not because of one joke, but because jokes signal timing. They suggest that material once considered untouchable may be approaching daylight. When satire circles something carefully avoided for years, it usually means the protective wall is thinning. To understand why this matters, it's important to strip away mythology and return to logistics. Meghan Markle did not emerge from obscurity into royalty by chance. Before palace life, she was an actress navigating competitive entertainment spaces where access matters more than talent alone. That is not criticism, it's industry reality. Elite social environments are not democratic. They are curated, invitation-only ecosystems governed by gatekeepers, favors, and proximity. Private yachts, members-only clubs, and invitation-driven retreats don't operate on coincidence. They operate on approval. Guests are vetted, introductions are deliberate, movement through those spaces requires someone with influence to open the door. That's not speculation, it's how elite leisure culture functions globally. This is where long-standing rumors, often dismissed as gossip, enter a different category, not as accusations, but as questions of access. When the same name repeatedly appears in environments tied to extreme wealth and power, people stop asking if that person was present and start asking how early the access began. The narrative surrounding Meghan Markle has long centered on the idea of an outsider, someone unfamiliar with aristocratic systems who stumbled into royalty through romance. But that narrative becomes more fragile if, as some researchers allege, her exposure to elite networks predated her relationship with Prince Harry by years. Prince Andrew's presence in this discussion is what shifts the conversation from uncomfortable to explosive. Andrew is not merely controversial, he represents a network of wealth, privilege, and protection that has resisted scrutiny for decades. Allegations surrounding him have reshaped how the public views elite social circles, particularly those involving yachts, private islands, and invitation-only gatherings. Several independent commentators and authors have claimed that Meghan Markle may have crossed paths with Prince Andrew long before she met Prince Harry, allegedly through overlapping elite environments. These claims have never been conclusively proven, but they persist, not because of tabloids, but because they have never been clearly addressed. If such connections existed, even briefly, they would fundamentally alter the public understanding of her rise. The story would shift from fairy tale to strategy, from chance to positioning. That doesn't negate love or agency, but it removes innocence from the origin story. This is why the topic has remained radioactive. Attaching Prince Andrew's name to anyone's early timeline invites scrutiny that institutions prefer to avoid. It raises questions about introductions, facilitators, and systems that quietly recycle the same people through positions of influence. Elite yacht culture itself is frequently misunderstood by the public. These are not casual vacations, they are controlled environments designed for discretion. Guest lists are curated with intent. Roles are often unspoken but understood. Proximity is not random, it's transactional, whether socially, professionally, or reputationally. None of this implies criminality by default, but pretending these spaces are innocent social mixers ignores how power actually circulates. Access itself is currency. Being present is the transaction. One name repeatedly mentioned in discussions of Meghan Markle's early access is Marcus Anderson, a former senior figure at Soho House. Soho House is not merely a hospitality brand, it is a networking engine. Its value lies not in decor, but in controlled access. Anderson's role placed him at the center of who met whom, where, and why. Notably, Anderson was instrumental in Meghan Markle's introduction to Prince Harry. He was visible during her early royal rise, attended her wedding, and then gradually vanished from public view. In elite circles, disappearance often follows scrutiny. Visibility becomes liability when questions start forming. Authors like Kirby Sommers have alleged the existence of photographs tying Meghan Markle to elite yacht environments connected to Prince Andrew, claiming these images are distinct from those already debunked online. According to these claims, some media outlets are aware of the material but have declined to publish due to legal and institutional pressure. Whether these photos exist or not, one question remains unanswered. Why has this story never been directly addressed? Media outlets collectively ignore nothing. Silence at that scale usually reflects risk, not irrelevance. If the allegations were entirely baseless, a clean denial would be easy. A clarified timeline would end speculation. Instead, what has existed for years is strategic quiet. No direct rebuttal, no explanation of access, no transparency about early elite associations. In media dynamics, silence is not neutrality, it is calculation. It suggests that answering may create more problems than avoiding the question. And once silence persists long enough, the question evolves. The public stops asking whether something is true and starts asking why it was never explained. That shift is irreversible. The person most affected by this lingering narrative may not be Meghan Markle. It could very well be Prince Harry. If, hypothetically, Meghan's access to elite networks tied to Prince Andrew happened before she met Harry, the lens through which their story is viewed shifts dramatically. The narrative moves from one of rescue to one of realization, from discovery to arriving at the end of an already mapped path. That doesn't negate the marriage, but it erodes the perception of randomness that once shielded it. Public sympathy has long rested on the idea that Harry saved Meghan from a hostile system. But if she already understood how to navigate high-level networks, gatekeeping, and influence, Harry's role transforms from savior to the final chapter in a story already in motion. That's why timing matters. Stories like this don't emerge at their most dangerous, they surface when they become strategically useful. For years, silence from media and institutions preserved stability. Questioning the narrative risked lawsuits, backlash, and loss of access. Now, that environment has changed. Audiences are fatigued by curated victimhood, skeptical of polished narratives, and impatient with ambiguity. Comedy has become the release valve, a subtle testing ground. Late-night jokes act as cultural probes. They hint at knowledge without formally claiming it. When audiences react without shock, it signals that the ground is ready, that public perception can shift. The SNL reference was never about exposing proof. It was about measuring readiness. The reaction, or lack thereof, speaks volumes. No clear denials, only legal maneuvering and silence. And silence is potent. Reputations rarely collapse from one accusation. They crumble from unanswered questions stacking up until avoidance becomes proof in the public imagination. A single yacht reference means little. A membership in an exclusive club alone means little. But repeated connections over time reveal a structure rather than coincidence. Patterns emerge where none were meant to be seen. Once patterns are visible, control disappears. The conversation has shifted. It's no longer about whether photos exist, it's about why the mere possibility causes such visible discomfort. Institutions brace, silence persists, and curiosity spreads.